Greetings and welcome to No BS Baking. Once again, you got JP here, and today I wanted to look at this Chat GPT stuff to see if this tech can help me in my day-to-day baking. Can it help me find better information faster? What does it take to get it set up, and is it worth it to even do so? And just basically, what are the pros and cons of using it, and will it actually be a good tech tool to add to my baking and cooking information arsenal? So anyway, without any further delay, let's just get into it. Chat GPT, in case you didn't already know, is an artificial intelligence chatbot. It's created by Open AI, which is a research laboratory with the intention of developing a friendly AI that, among a number of things that it's planned to do, finds information and provides it in easy-to-understand terms. Now, the Open AI chatbot is on or soon will be an extension available by most browsers. However, if you want to check it out, I simply went to openai.com, clicked on the Try It button. Now, I logged in with my Google account, but you don't have to. Voila, I was in and operational. So basically here, I just opened up the main page and I typed in, "Why is my bread flat?" Now, almost instantaneously, the chatbot started answering, and in quite detail, I might add. Now, I just screenshot this, and so the list went on much longer than what it's showing here. Now, in reviewing the answers, I thought they were spot on. Okay, so now I'm interested. So I asked my second question. What does salt do in bread? And again, the answer was detailed, yet concise and easy to understand. I was really impressed. Here I asked for a good recipe for gluten-free bread. As with the previous results, the answer came quick with a basic recipe and the instructions for making it. No fuss, no wading through multiple recipes from various sites. Fast, simple, and from what I can see, exactly what the bot says it is. A simple base recipe for gluten-free bread. And in my opinion, the recipe looks good and the process looks good. On this question, I got a little more technical, asking what enzyme makes gluten relax, just trying to put it into layman's terms. Once again, a brief yet comprehensive explanation that directly answered my question. I was very impressed. The next question was, how long should I mix high-protein bread flour? Now, in this example, the basic guidelines which the bot provided, I will say, are okay and fall in line with my recommendations of longer mix times for high-protein bread flour. However, I don't necessarily agree with the 4 to 6 minutes on low speed, as I feel this is a little bit of an overkill. However, not really incorrect either. Now, each baker has his or her own way of incorporating ingredients based on a particular recipe, so you know what? Fair enough. 8 to 10 minutes of higher speed is a common guideline and makes perfect sense. Now, in this question, I tried to get a bit tricky, asking the bot what speed is best for bread using a particular brand of mixer, in this example, a KitchenAid mixer. Now, the answer came back, and in my opinion, perfectly, where I could not and probably would not have said it better than they did. So, fantastic. In this last example, I posed the question, can I make no-time dough without conditioners? The answer again was spot on. Of course you can. Interestingly enough, it pointed out that conditioners will improve the overall performance of this type of dough, just like time does in the straight dough process. But actually, yes, you can make a decent no-time dough with a few formulation modifications and some good practices and in processing techniques such as longer mix times, which I've explained in previous videos. Now, I love that it gave a base recipe and instructions on what to do and when to do it. I mean, this is really cool stuff. Now, I was just getting ready to wrap up my examples, and I realized that all the recipes that the bot generated were in US volumetric measures. So I wanted to get a recipe for a no-time dough in metric So I asked the question, no time white bread recipe in metric weights. Now it answered it perfectly based on how I worded my question. So I did in fact get a white bread recipe that can be made in no time using metric weights. Not exactly what I was thinking, but it answered it exactly as I typed it. Oh, and P.S. All the processing instructions were also provided. I mean, it's brilliant. So as a footnote to the previous AI responses, you have to be clear on exactly what you want. Without clarification, the bot will look at the ranges and then arbitrarily decide on the one to display. Luckily, in baking, generally there is not much difference between bread and bun recipes from other ingredients that may be added, such as salt or yeast. However, the amount of liquid may be vastly different without clarifying the product objective. By being clear on what you want to make, such as I want to make bread, I want to make buns, I want to make it in a pan, or I want to make artisan style, and maybe even clarifying the internal texture you may want, such as open or closed crumb, will all help the bot get to the answers and information that you want. As you can see by this example, once I clarified white pan bread, the hydration levels fell into place. Now, so far, what I see is this tech it's really amazing. I mean, it simplifies a lot, and I give it a big thumbs up. However, keep in mind, we're using it for collecting and explaining specific information on a particular topic, and from what I've seen, it does quite a nice job with this. But I do want to quickly go through some of the negatives or the cons for this tech that you should be aware of. Well, this is new technology and still struggles here and there in a few areas. And yes, there will be glitches and maybe even some weird anomalies as the developers continue to debug and expand the tech. Now, here are a few things to keep in mind. Keep in mind that this technology is still really new and may provide some inaccurate information, especially if you ask opinion or you wanted to forecast something. So just keep that in mind. It also may give you some inaccurate information based on the way you worded your question, or even its limitations. So it's always a good idea to double check things that seem odd or out of place. And lastly, it's still learning and requires training by the user to produce more accurate results, which will happen over time. Now keep in mind that for any of you have gone out there looking for specific information on the web, you know you've got one site telling you this and one site telling you that. This home baker turned professional is telling you how things work based on a site where they found some information, and yet another from a totally different resource giving you their take on the information that may or may not be correct. Now I see this everywhere, especially on some of the home baking channels on YouTube. So my point is, like humans, this can be confusing for the bots also. However, it appears that in the searches that I did anyway, that they do a pretty good job of checking a lot of resources and ranking the data based on consensus rather than individual sources. And thank God for that. Lastly, imagine the power you can tap into as a result of using this tech. No more wading through search results, quick and easy to check information from online baking resources for accuracy or not. Problem solve, troubleshoot baking issues quickly and easily. Explore alternate processes that may improve your finished product quality. And it even gets better. So try this. Ask for a recipe out there. Any recipe, whatever you feel you got in your mind. Now, then convert the recipe, ask it to convert it into gram weights. Then go one step further and have it show all the ingredients in baker's percent, once again just by asking. And even ask what the recommended pan size for this particular recipe would be. Really, this is amazing stuff that I'm glad I looked into. And finally, data is one thing. However, nothing beats experience and that special feel trained human bakers have with their ingredients, product, environment, process, and equipment. Now, this continues to hold true in many professions where AI is being used, for now anyway.